Welcome to CTV News Your Canada. It's Wednesday, April 2nd. We'll bring you profiles of fascinating Canadians and stories about your community. Thanks for watching.
The Energy City Cactus Rats baseball team is looking to give fans an authentic experience with their mascot by releasing 500 porcupines across the Edmonton area. At least that's what they want you to think.
One of our goals was to try to, create a little more knowledge and notoriety about the porcupine. It would take a while for them to sort of infiltrate too many places.
But look at the date. It's an April Fool's Day prank, saying the first 100 fans to get quilled will receive free season tickets.
Supposedly our lawyers made us put a disclaimer in there.
Some fans took the bait and even leaned into the joke.
I know one was like, should release him on the hen day.
Just one of many pranks in the city. There have been some sightings of a house hippo at the Edmonton Valley Zoo, a joke their animals seem to be loving. And if you're looking for some outdoor fun just in time for playoffs, Ice District is turning its skating rink into a public pool area. Plus, a new place for your next vacation with a submarine-themed hotel room for an aquatic escape at the West Edmonton Mall. The Edmonton International Airport also had some fun, trying to fool flyers by introducing an airport coach. With travel plans being so hectic, what better place to test out the airport coach idea than right here?
Wow. Is this for somebody that needs assistance?
Yeah, essentially if you have a lot of things to carry, you have your kids around, they're just there to help you while you get here.
This is April Fool's, right?
It is, yes.
Others were a bit easier to fool.
It come in handy for people that do need it, yeah.
And when we asked him what day it was...
Actually, it's Tuesday.
I'll give you a hint. It's
Tuesday.
April 1st.
Yeah, Tuesday, April 1st.
April Fool's.
So while you may not be able to hire an airport coach yet, the airport says it's not ruling out getting one anytime soon. Miriam Valdez-Carletti, CTV News, Edmonton.
This is 7-year-old Nova. She runs a little sideways, but still, chances are she's faster than you.
I always wanted a dog that I could run with, and as I knew I was starting to go on the trails more and increase distance, I wanted somebody that I didn't have to make plans with or put time in the calendar with.
Evan Birch got Nova with a plan, but years on, every expectation has been shattered. The duo hit the trails almost every day, and at these distances, they're hard to miss.
Vizslas are a weird breed. As soon as you show them what they're capable of, it's almost like you're creating a monster because they want more, they want to go further.
After years of slowly ramping up, the runners recently took a stab at a famous 100-mile race in Washington called the Orcas Island 100. Birch and Nova didn't quite complete the full race, but still covered a remarkable 75 miles, or 120 kilometers.
She doesn't understand we're going for a 40K run today. She's just there.
Out on the trails, Nova's safety comes first. Birch watches her nutrition and energy levels and isn't afraid to slow down or quit if it's needed. Still, the whole thing even stops experts in their tracks.
I'm always surprised anybody runs ultramarathons.
That being said, Nova is the perfect breed for running.
They're a dog with a large chest capacity, which means that they have a lot of ability to exchange air, so they can oxygenate their blood really well.
The 100-mile race was a one-time deal, but even though Nova won't be taking part in the next ultra marathon, you can bet she'll still be there for the training.
If she's off leash, just know that she passes on the right and not be scared because she will absolutely zoom past you.
Tim Brook, CTV News, Calgary.
Art that moves you, lighting up the room and your imagination. That's the story behind the new immersive 4 Rooms exhibit at Gallery 1888.
They reimagine this concept of home and pull on memories as well as, our collective subconscious as to what a home really means.
The 4 Rooms exhibit is the brainchild of a group called Elsewhere Collective, made up of 3 Canadian artists.
We thought about it having an inherently performative nature, and it's not in the sense of you being a performer, but you're automatically cast into the dialogue unfolding around you.
The gallery space itself is new to the City of Toronto, giving artists a unique opportunity to take over the space.
This is our first major exhibition. The gallery itself is a contemporary art gallery that showcases international artists, but also our local community here.
Having this place to actually be able to spread out and create in is so rare in Toronto, so that was just like, yeah, an incredible opportunity.
The exhibit is meant to be explored more than once, with something different to see depending on where you stand in the space.
I think like one of the important things is you do move around the space, and you're never going to get the same experience just because depending on where you are, where the projections are laying up.
The gallery and exhibit are free to attend, with the first theme of the exhibit titled The Table open to the public this weekend.
The Four Rooms exhibit will continue to change every week for the next 3 weeks to a new set, theme, and light show to continue giving patrons a new and fresh experience, with the next set called The Sofa beginning on April 8th. Jessica Smith, CTV News.
Clear prop. The first time Rihanna Roberts flew a plane by herself, she was on cloud 9.
It was just really amazing to just fly by myself for the first time.
Roberts is one of 9 people in the Digitai pilot training program. The fully funded initiative supports Indigenous people through pilot training, something Rise Air says would normally cost $100,000.
And so that sets a barrier that is very, very high, not only for Indigenous pilots, but for anyone that wants to be a pilot. And so it was essential for this program that we provide that financial support.
The program is supported by several agencies and organizations, including the provincial government, Prince Albert Grand Council, and Rise Air. Robert says having that support has been a big help.
It's really great to have that support system, especially that financial burden lifted off us. It really helps us finish school and go to school every day.
Rise Air says the program not only removes barriers, but it also addresses the pilot shortage, which it says affects industries across northern Saskatchewan.
We are very much focused on building a pilot workforce that is committed to Saskatchewan.
The aspiring pilots recently finished ground school. Now they can work towards getting a private pilot license, then a commercial one. And if they meet all the qualifications, Rise Air says it will give them a job offer. Roberts says she wants the program to be a success, so it will continue.
So that's why I'm going to try my very hardest and get to graduation so that other young girls can get this opportunity like myself.
Students are expected to complete the program next spring. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
It's a musical that has been ingrained in pop culture for decades and now is being brought to life by the youngest generation.
This is my first play ever.
Freyanne Guthrow, who is celebrating her 13th birthday, plays the lead role of Annie. It's her first time doing live theater.
So I've been singing since I was 2, and I've been performing since I was 6.
At the start, she's crying because she's missing her parents and she had a dream about them.
6-year-old Olivia Hunter plays Molly. She's also not shy about being on stage or about much of anything.
I have lots of confidence.
I just know that whoever comes to this show, you're in for a real treat.
Robbie Sims plays Daddy Warbucks. He says to have a timeless classic like Annie complemented by a live band underneath the stage and the historic venue that is the Savoy should all make for a memorable audience experience.
It's a great story. It's great music. It's great comedy. It's sweet. It's touching. Families can watch it. You know, it's kind of something for everybody.
As for any message Annie might have for the kids in the crowd,
all I have to say is that if you have something to dream of, go for it. You never know if you'll get it or not if you don't try.
Good boy, good old Sandy.
the curtain rises on the opening show Friday, followed by a pair of performances on Saturday and a final show on Sunday. Ryan McDonald, CTV News, Glace Bay.
Karate takes physical and mental strength. And 12-year-old Addie Singh is taking it to the next level.
It's exciting.
Heading to the Canadian National Championships in British Columbia.
I've worked a lot. We have practices almost every day.
Along with her 14-year-old brother, Evan. Last year, he finished on podium.
Pretty well, I got second.
Ended up representing Canada at the Pan American Karate Championships in Brazil.
It was pretty difficult, but it was nice.
All 8 of these athletes from Six Tigers Academy in Manotick are going to BC.
We're the only ones from Ottawa.
Competing against others from across Canada.
These kids are such hard workers and they're so dedicated.
It's the best of the best.
I think I'm going to do pretty good. I've been training pretty regularly.
Joining another brother-sister combo, Sarah and Ethan.
Scary or excited?
Scary.
Why is that?
Because I've never fought against that many people.
It's Austin Harvey's 3rd time at the national championship.
He's the national champion.
He's competing at para karate.
Are you excited to be going to this competition?
Yes, he is. Very excited. I love to see him go to these competitions because unfortunately there's not a lot that he fits into. And when we started with this dojo, they were really accepting and welcoming.
For all of these athletes, lots of training and dedication.
It's amazing for me as a coach seeing all these warriors to work hard.
I think that the skills I learned in karate are essential for everything that I do in my life.
Don't let the black belt fool you. I'm kind of a beginner at karate. Any tips you can give me?
No worries, I got you. This is one of the basic kicks you learn in karate and Six Tigers. Knee up and push, front kick.
Knee up,
push, front kick.
Guess I'm not joining the team. How's that?
Not bad. Thank you.
The competition taking place April 3rd to 6th.
Let's go, Ontario! Let's go, Six Tigers!
Peter Sperling, CTV News.
Get a bag, get some gloves, get a broom, and get in the game. And the name of the game, folks, I want to hear you scream it. It's London Clean and Green.
City staff, volunteers, and businesses turned out this morning to officially launch the 30th annual Clean and Green campaign.
After a long winter, we see a lot of visible litter, and people say, what's going on? Well, that's what London Clean and Green is all about, and we encourage Londoners, businesses, institutions to do their part anytime during the month of April.
Since 1996, London Clean and Green has promoted litter prevention and community-led cleanups each spring. The annual campaign is still going strong today, and many of the founding partners continue to participate.
I think when people show up and a sidewalk's clean, there's not litter, it's not dirty, that the people take pride in that business. And I think it encourages business. That's not the reason we do it, but it's a benefit.
This year's campaign consists of the 12 days of cleaning leading up to the annual 20-minute London makeover on April 11th and concludes with the community-wide cleanup on April 12th.
You see something on the ground, we sure do need your help, though, because the city cannot be everywhere in the springtime. It does take time to roll out all our equipment and all our containers, so do your part, help out during the month of April.
So for everyone out there who has ever dropped a piece of litter, now is the time to change your mind. It costs us hugely on the environmental side, it costs us hugely financially, it's horrible for the wildlife.
Local businesses, institutions, and schools are encouraged to spend 20 minutes collecting litter and tidying up outside their workplace. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
And so he wanted a place for kids to play hockey. And
Marie Nagler says the J.H. Burt Memorial Arena has been an important place for her family for over 70 years.
It was during the war years, and my father donated the property for it, and it was the community that really came together and helped with fundraising and to get it going.
She hopes the community will be able to save the arena, which is in need of repairs, according to engineer reports dating back to 2019. Mayor Richard Stevens says upgrades have been happening on a regular basis, but 5 years ago, council contemplated building a new facility.
We were looking at a sports complex, which entailed both our community center and the arena and a walking trail for seniors or others. And the price tag came in at about $15 million. For a small community of 2,300, that's a big bite. We did make applications to senior governments for funding to assist. Unfortunately, we didn't make the cut.
Alex Smith is a local business owner and previous council member. He says regardless if it's repaired or a new build, the community needs something, and they need it as soon as possible.
It's fine to wait for reports. Yes, it's fine to talk about it and make sure you get it right. But at the end of the day, we know that the building is right for the community. So we need to make sure that those repairs happen, and they need to happen quickly. Nothing happens fast with municipal politics, and every day we wait is a delay for the start of the upcoming season.
Mayor Stevens says the building is open, but a section is closed off due to the west wall buckling under the weight of winter storms this year.
Everything's on the table, and once we have the facts and the figures, then we'll be in a much better position to either find the funding or look for the funding at least, and decide what route we're going to take.
In the meantime, community members are taking matters into their own hands, hosting a pancake supper tonight. They say they want to show council how much they care, while also raising as much as they can to support whatever comes next. Lindsay Alick, CTV News, Mindamoya.
This is one of the only ways to get to Fort Smith.
Back seat, you have safety cards, sick bags.
A small prop plane taking just a handful of passengers to Mark Carney's hometown. With 2,300 residents and 4 languages, it's the first time a Canadian Prime Minister has come from the Northwest Territories.
He, is at least, giving identity to Fort Smith as his hometown. Maybe it'll bring it back to maybe some of the concerns that we have.
That includes at the very school where Carney's father was principal.
You go down south and there's brand new schools every day getting built, and we're stuck here in a dilapidated school.
Carney left Fort Smith when he was young, just 6 years old, and he often speaks more about his life in England than in Canada's north. But just 4 days after being sworn in, he made a stop in Iqaluit, a shred of hope to some who feel forgotten by the federal government.
Maybe he'll help us out. We don't have very many expectations.
It doesn't matter where he's from. It just matters that the government of Canada has to learn that the Northwest Territories is a place.
About 800 kilometers south of Fort Smith is Carney's other childhood home, Edmonton.
It doesn't matter who's elected. They're going to do what they want.
This is Carney's high school, where he attended before heading to Harvard. While Alberta is a sea of blue, Edmonton is represented by the Conservatives, Liberals, and NDP, a pivotal area for Carney to show he can represent all provinces.
I just trust Mark Carney more, to be honest.
3 hours south in Calgary, attitudes are much different.
I've been a Conservative all my life. I vote Conservative regardless of who the Prime Minister is running.
Calgary and Alberta are in some ways the heart of the Conservative Party of Canada.
At Poilievre's old high school, he left an impression on former classmates.
He was very smart. That's all I remember. Quiet, but smart.
Poilievre has been involved in politics since university and won an essay contest based on what he would do as Prime Minister. It argued for a 2-term limit for members of Parliament.
First house, first lawn sign.
Despite that, Poilievre won his seat in an Ontario riding at 25 years old and has served as an MP for over 2 decades.
We need someone who's going to be putting Canada first and a strong leader and bringing prices and affordability to young people like myself.
Conservative support here is so high, there are few campaign posters. But even in these parts, there is some pushback.
I really hope he does not win. I don't think he's a good leader. Super negative.
Sometimes I vote NDP just because we need some, variety in the political landscape.
Despite his western roots, Poilievre represents the riding of Carleton in Ottawa. Carney's riding is right next to it in Nepean. Both leaders running far from where they came from, but banking on hometown support. Kelly Gregg, CTV News.
It's definitely a recruiting tool.
The University of Windsor is hosting a basketball all-star game for grade 9 and 10 players from across southwestern Ontario.
We have a high school tournament for our senior team under our high school profile, and I felt like we needed to add something to our junior profile.
20 players were chosen from a pool of 50 from the regions of Essex, Kent, and Lambton counties. So the All-Star Game is being held here at the Toldo Lancer Centre next Wednesday, April 9th, and not only feature an All-Star Game, but also a chance for the community to engage with different partners.
Hopefully it's going to be a good event where everyone could feel like, hey, there's something for me here besides the game. I think the game is just a bonus.
The cost of admission is a canned good or more, with proceeds to be split between local food banks and the food bank on campus. 8 organizations, including New Beginnings, are supporting the event as they continue to connect with youth in our community.
The mental health is, higher than it's ever been before. Families are struggling financially, which means, kiddos are struggling with food insecurity, and it's tough.
Stacey Yanakopoulos, executive director at New Beginnings, says some student athletes may be struggling with food insecurity, mental health, anxiety, and connecting with others at school and may not show it.
Like so many different types of supports that are needed for such a wide range of youth. So we just want, we love to be out there, be able to connect as much as possible.
You don't know what you know until you know it, until it's exposed to you. And I think hopefully these community groups are able to share some of the services that they provide in their neighborhoods that could actually help, individual or their families.
Bob Belichico, CTV News.
It's a trail of color, history, and it stretches right across Canada. The Barn Quilt Trail is a perfect way for the whole family to take in and learn about rural families and, of course, the beautiful landscapes. Now, locally, For the Love of Grey Barn Quilt Trail is available to take in and explore throughout Grey County. There's an interactive map with addresses and stories to discover as you hit the open road and cruise through some of the most scenic areas of our province. Now, there's 38-foot barn quilts to discover in the area and another 6 4-foot ones mounted on local barns. The colorful patterns were all created by volunteers. Some of them took more than 100 hours to finish.
With the website, we have everyone's story. So every quilt, in case you weren't aware, has a story associated with it. So the stories typically are about the family history, the local area history, or to tell a story that the host or owner of the quilt wants to tell.
For the Love of Grey Barn Quilt Trail is just one of many interactive fun experiences for you to discover in that beautiful area, not only starting in the spring, but going right through to the summer.
Well, Brett Devlow's using a walker for an injury that's temporary.
Yeah. It's so weird having this. I'm so used to using my white cane.
Becoming unexpectedly blind at 16 was permanent.
And I lost my vision, like that. Sitting in the middle of history class.
Brett was diagnosed with a rare DNA mutation that blocks 98% of his vision.
It's like having the sun right in the middle of your sight like this. If you look left, it goes left, look right, it goes right, and everything else is really blurry.
But it was clear nothing else would ever be the same.
We all cried for let's call it 5 minutes, and then my first words were, okay, what are we gonna do?
Well, the first thing Brett wanted to do was get back on his beloved skateboard, and thanks to muscle memory, he could.
I had to be much quicker with my reflexes and be way more ready to land on my face.
Well, Brett picked himself up after every fall, and in this video, shot about a year after going blind, he learned how to feel the space and walk the route before flying forward.
It feels great, and it makes me feel like some things don't change. I'm normal when I skate, you know?
Although, 13 years after losing his sight, Brett is finding his life is far better than normal.
I'm pretty grateful I went blind, honestly, because if I could see, I would have just been a regular small-town guy.
Instead, Brett tours Canada and the U.S. as a sponsored skateboarder, known as TBK, the blind kid.
Did you see that? Because I didn't.
Works as a motivational speaker in schools and raises money to donate iPads with accessible software to children with vision loss.
Losing my vision kind of just ironically gave me the sight to see that the world is a lot bigger and there's more out there.
There's more obstacles to overcome, more people to inspire, and no more excuses, Brett says, for not achieving your goals.
Just do it. You can literally just do it. That's it.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Aldergrove.